There are a couple of things I have noticed about television today and television that was made 20 or 30 years ago. Or I'd say television that was made, let's just say 50 years ago. If we look at some of the criterias for televisions that are made back in time and televisions that are made today, the differences are quite significant. The differences are huge. In terms of presentation, in terms of physical, television that was made back in the days, they were heavy, they were bulky, they were made, the outer part of the TV was made out of wood. The televisions were unattractive. You don't find it as an attractive equipment. It was in a box. When you watch the picture, it was black and white. It wasn't such a great quality. You need an antenna to capture most of the channels. And you can just tell, back in time, the TV was so different compared to today. And back in time, television were not even interactive. 40, 50 years ago, television were not interactive. You have them on your living room, you switch it on. Most of the time you have a power button, brightness, and maybe just to change the channel. And not too many channels. Sometimes it was, in most cases back in time, television was like 5 channels. If you compare the physicality of television back in those days and now, what is the physicality today? Television are much lighter, slimmer. The design is so fancy design. And the coloredness make it so real. And TV of today are very, very interactive, highly interactive, because they are connected to the World Wide Web. So very, very interactive. I want you to ask yourself this question. So TV back in time and now, which one do you think is doing more damage to the youngsters and children? After comparing the characteristics of TV back in time and television now, which one is doing more damage? I'll leave that question to you. The watch time. Back when I was growing up, television, it was rationed. I recall sometimes television would close in the afternoon. Broad daylight, television is closed in the afternoon. And at this time, I had to go and do something else. My dad had to say, go and do your homework. Go and spend some time with the neighbors. Spend some time with your friend. Go and do something outside. My dad used to tell me, because the television is closed for 3 hours in the afternoon. Even back in those days, television closed at night. Television was closing at 9 p.m. All the channels are closed. You would not find any program to watch. And I can remember, or from memory, there was no DVD. There was nothing like that. And I remember back in those days, I even resorted to listening to music because my dad had a cassette. So I was just listening to music. Fast forward, what about today? Television are no longer rationed. Television are open 24 hours. 365 days in a year, television is... There is television. You can spend all your time on television. There's Netflix, Amazon Prime. There's so much. Although I don't watch television these days, I mostly do stuff on my laptop and that's it. I don't have time for television. because I, I because I was from an era where television was rationed, and so this new thing where you have television in almost close to you is not something that I was used to. What about the psychological part of television? Televisions these days are very, very manipulative. They can run with a narrative. Television of these days are, they are like mobile. You can move them around. It can be very controlling compared to television back in time. Television back in time were just, the programs were just straightforward. They're not trying to say something, trying to catch you out. Television is static in one location, more educational stuff. I recall time that I was watching programs that were educational, that they were beneficial, that opened and allowed me to learn things about geography, allow me to learn things about economics, allow me to learn things that children should be learning. But today, that's not the case. Television has become a machine that can make you go in the opposite direction. That's what television is today. I will wrap up with one final question. Ask yourself, television back in time and television of today, which one would you, which era, which one would you support? Which one would you go for? I will go for television back in time because it allows people to be people and not for people to think like other people.